on?
Zach is
Oh,
on.
Zach is?
Zach, can you hear us?
He'll be rejoining as a panelist now. Yeah, he can hear you.
Craig does
Right,
dogs
Zach?
in the timber chasing deer out on her way
Yep,
home.
I can hear you.
So.
All right.
You get one of them? No, not yet. I'm sure she will.
Was B at Margaritaville? I'm gonna say. Yeah.
When I talked to him, he mentioned something about maybe listening in, but wasn't gonna commit.
Yeah, he wants it. I can see that.
All right, I got 7 o'clock. Time for council to begin. Can I get a call to order and roll call, please?
Elwick,
Here.
Gates,
Here.
Cassinius,
Here.
Parmenter,
Here.
Fluhop, here, Stark.
Here. Now, if you'd all rise, please, and join us in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I'll take a motion to approve tonight's agenda. Motion. Motion by Riley, second by Bethany. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion. Second.
Motion by Bethany, second by Riley. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any questions for Chris or Melissa on any of that?
Already been approved.
Oh, yeah, never mind. Okay. Well, if you had a question on an invoice, too late.
Well, if you have any questions, I'd be able to answer them afterwards.
Now's the time to receive and file any communications, petitions, and remonstrances. I do not have any. Does anyone else? Okay. Any committee reports since our last meeting?
Can't say there has been. Nope.
All right. Looking right through. Now's the time for citizens' input. Council will not take any action on public comments at this meeting, but may do so at a future meeting. Please limit your time to 3 minutes. Anyone tonight for public input? Anybody out yonder?
Doesn't appear to be any other attendees tonight on Zoom.
Oh, look at us go. Old business. Now's the time for a second consideration of ordinance 1092, an ordinance amending the code of ordinances for the city of Vinton related to signage. Motion. Second. Motion by Bethany, second by Riley. Any questions? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
That you need a roll call.
That would be a roll call. Roll call?
Cassinius,
Yep.
Elwick,
Yes.
Gates, yep. Parmenter,
Yes.
Fluhop,
Yes.
Stark.
Yes. All right, moving on, new business. Now's the time for discussion of the water treatment facility improvements alternatives with Mark. Mark, you wanna come up?
Thanks for taking the time. This shouldn't take more than 2 or 3 hours. So I've met with a few of you, showing you some ideas where to maybe cut some cost. I'm just not sure how we can do that, with value engineering. Dave, could you fill in on that a little bit? The value engineering on the project?
Before the bid is awarded, or you're talking
After.
afterwards? Yeah, that would have to be something that we would have to enter into a discussion with the contractor to see if they would be willing to work with us to look at some alternative equipment, and they would make a proposal based on what they feel the cost savings would be after they had to take into consideration any alterations, any responsibility and risk they have to take on, they could make that proposal to us after the award. So that's something that we generally don't discuss before we award. There's some things that are prohibitive in the bid laws that you have to award a project on the basis of the bid, or you have to reject the bids and take the bids. That's the general process.
And that is a legal process,
Yes, we can't negotiate things before they're
Yeah.
awarded.
obviously.
It would have to be something that was done after the fact, after they awarded the bid. And it would be subject to the contractor wanting to do that.
And what do you refer to that as, Mark? Evaluated?
Value engineering.
Okay.
That was a big one, since we really can't discuss it, I guess, anything prior or before. So we're pretty limited on what we can talk about tonight, sounds like. You guys have any questions for me?
I don't have any questions, just, the one thing is because the bids have been opened, haven't been awarded yet, the option is really value only after the bids are awarded, or quite frankly, having to rebid the entire project, going back out for bids and having, I guess, new specs would be the
Right.
thing.
If we were looking at providing alternate equipment, we would have to make the adjustments to the plans. A lot of the equipment isn't exactly the same dimensions.
Right.
It isn't the same configuration. We would need to make a fair amount of adjustment. Not only do we have an expense in going through the redesign, you would also have some issue with trying to get a basis for competition for that equipment. You have to go out and do the evaluation and put in the equipment that would be acceptable, and do the evaluation for the design on that as well, if we were going to change it. So it's not just as straightforward as designing just for that equipment. We're going to open it up for competition for that type. We can do that as well.
So basically, if council decided to put it out to rebid, you'd scrap the original.
It depends. So there's a pretty significant difference. For example, if we were to look at a different pump configuration instead of vertical turbines and using that open area as a wet well, and we wanted to put pumps on the existing flanges that go through the wall and repipe that, that's a different configuration. So that's a completely different approach. We have to put together bid documents that reflect that. If we're going to change the screen type, if we're going to change the screw press, if we're going to change different equipment, we need to make sure that the building is sized to accommodate that equipment. We do what's called a basis of design. So after we go out and we visit different plants with the operator, we find out, based off of talking with the other operators, what's good about the equipment, what's bad, what's the operational cost, what are the maintenance issues associated with it, and we select an equipment to design around.
Okay.
And we put together the plans based off that. So when we look at doing alternate equipment, particularly when we look at changing the type completely, that takes a fair amount of redesign in order to get plans set up so you can even get a bid for that.
So if council decided tonight to put it back out to rebid, is there a cost involved with that?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And who eats that cost?
I don't know. I've never had to rebid before.
Okay.
I think
If it was a request to change to a different design approach, that's outside of our scope. So we would expect that it would be a negotiation of a contract in order to do that.
so. In other words, engineering as well
Right.
would be additional as well, and plus the expense of advertising and getting the notice out and all the time that goes along with it. Plus,
So in other words, the city. Yeah.
Well, it'd be split. It'd be split, kind of. I mean, you're looking at a savings, but you're looking at a, not that much of a savings by doing it.
no, there.
That's all speculation.
Yeah.
Because we don't know.
Right, no,
what the bids
no,
will
I
come
know.
back as.
I mean, if you, how do I put it? if you look at rebidding it, there's gonna be a cost, engineering, Woodruff's gonna have to go back out for repricing and everything else. So there might be a savings on Mark's pumps, but is it worth putting the project back another 2-3 months?
That I have not done that kind of analysis yet. Don't know what the projected cost increases are going to be on equipment. Also, not only just the time, obviously, redesign. I'm just walking through all the stuff in my head, and I cannot answer whether it would be a significant enough savings or how the savings would be, because typically when you have a bid, it's just the bid itself. The whole package is what, and that's what it does state in the law. So also there'd be some legal as well in the cost.
So to go back and look at the design objectives for this project, the existing pumps are connected into the wall, and the pumps are behind the wall. The chamber on the other side is difficult for Craig to get in and get cleaned out. That's the grit chamber. One of the things that we were trying to do was, one, get a larger wet well, two, move the point of access so that you could get that cleaned out easier, and three, get the pumps up above so that they weren't going down. There's an elevator in there now and a cage with a ladder. When they have to go down to that lower level, if something were to happen, it puts them in a little bit of a difficult situation. It could be considered a confined space. They have 2 points of access with the cage ladder and the elevator, but the elevator is very old. He was wanting to try to get everything up above and make it less strenuous, less risk, safer for his crew to not have to go down to that lower level. So we elevated the pumps up above. We used that space that was on the other side of the wall as a wet well, so now we have a much larger space for that flow to come in because we're going to increase the amount that we pump. Currently, that pump station only pumps about 3,000 gallons a minute. We're looking to increase that considerably because we're trying to now take the flows that we used to pump out onto the road and take those in, pump them up, and put them over into a equalization basin. So when we were looking at this, there were a number of things that were taken into consideration that were desires of the city and the design team to try to address some of those issues. So if we go back and put the pumps down to the lower level, we're sort of undoing some of that intent. So when you look at the cost savings, they're also losing some of what was the objective of the project. So just keep that in mind, that it wouldn't be necessarily comparing the same two projects just with different equipment. We've lost some of the intent of the design.
So with that, the cost between the submersibles and the dry pit pumps are about the same. So you could have the larger wet well. You just have submersible pumps that are slid down a rail instead of the APs.
Instead of the dry pit submersibles. So there's a lot of different things that you could look at, and we'd have to go back through and try to figure out what's desirable. The configuration you're talking about, we'd have to figure out the access points to be able to get in and let those out. How do we set that up so that we don't have issues with walking in there? Right now, there's a floor that kind of separates everything when you get to the motors. They'd be walking into wet well circulation. We've got humidity, a bunch of environmental concerns. All these things have to be taken into consideration. What I'm saying, it's not just simply switching out equipment. There's a lot that goes into the design. So it's something that would take a while to work through. And as you know, as the longer we wait, the prices don't go down. There's inflation to factor into it as well. Big climate, if there are other projects that come out, you might lose some interest. A lot of things that go into it, so I just want to make sure that when you look at the decision, you understand some of the factors to consider.
So the savings on the pumps would have been just over 400,000. I don't know, would you have that much redesign if you're, instead of the vertical turbines, you're just making an access opening for the submersible?
I'd have to go back and take a look at it now. We have to figure out how those would fit in there, addition to size, anchorage, ports, wiring, all that stuff has to get figured out. So
was gonna comment quick just on the bidding environment and having to go, if you did like to go to a rebid of some sort. This was about as close a amount of bids that I've probably ever seen for a project over $10 million. And so, delaying this 3 to 4 months, there could be projects on our radar that we would go after that we may not bid this project. It's a significant size. It's one that you need to make sure you have the resources for to do. And so, if in that time frame we need to fill capacity, not knowing that the redesign could take 3 months, could take 4 months, you never know. Once you get into it, that you could have a whole different bidding group that may be not as competitive as what we have. They could be better. You just don't know. But what you do have today is, like I said, some of the closest bids I've seen probably ever. So.
That's really all I had.
What's the time frame? Like how long has this been in the works?
We started down this path with USDA in 2018, and they assured us that there would be some grant funds available. Is that correct, Chris?
Mm-hmm.
And we went through their facility planning process. They didn't have anybody on staff to do environmental review, so that took a while to go out and find somebody to fill that for them. We assisted with that. We got through COVID, a few other things.
And they switched staff as well, the
Yeah,
USDA.
So we had a real heck of a time getting it pushed through them to the point where they finally did the evaluation and said, we don't have any money to do it. So then we went back and talked with SRF and said that, hey, we're looking at not using the USDA program. We'd like to use the low interest loan through SRF. They had their own environmental review process, so that took another 8 months to get through that. And finally got to the point where they gave us clearance a few months ago, and then we could put it out for bids. So
this whole thing really started about 8 years ago, I think, with Lauren.
So there was a facility plan done when we were looking at the sewer rehab to try to get the flows down a little bit, and they still have high flows, and that really was what drove that, was the EQ part of this. We had to have a place to store the water because we were still pumping it out on the street whenever we had high flows. So there was some sewer rehab done, the design I studied, conducted, and a facility plan put together that recommended improvements. So yeah, it's been a long process, and unfortunately with the USDA situation, that took about 3 years to get through that process to find out that they didn't have the funds. So that was very unfortunate that that's how they ended up. They said we didn't qualify.
When at first they said we did.
Yeah, they said up to 50%, I think is what they initially said, and that was pretty appealing, so that was the reason we went after it.
Okay, guys, any more questions for Mark? Mark, got anything else for us?
I don't think so.
Okay. Thank you.
You betcha.
All right, we're gonna move on down to item B under new business. Take a motion for the approval of a contract to award Woodruff Construction pending Iowa Development of Natural Resources concurrence of award for the wastewater treatment facility improvements. Motion.
Second.
I have a motion by Bethany, second by Riley. Any other discussion, guys? Roll call, please.
Vasinius,
Yep.
Elwick,
Yes.
Harmader,
Yes.
Stark,
Yes.
Fluhop,
Yes.
Gates.
Yes. Thank you very much. Appreciate everybody's input on that. It's not pleasant. Now we'll move down to item C, approval of pay estimate number 5 for West First Street reconstruction for Rachi Construction. Motion.
Second.
Look at you. Motion by Bethany, second by Andrew. You're up.
So this pay estimate gets caught up through the construction work that's been done that was correct on this project. Obviously, we are not paying them for the stretch of pavement that needs to be torn out and replaced. Incidentally, we did get the final testing back from the DOT, came back exactly what we expected. So we have issued the official non-compliance that they've been directed to remove and replace the deficient concrete.
That's what all those emails today were about. Huh?
That was actually pre-audit stuff,
Holy
totally separate. Yeah, I'm gonna talk to him tomorrow about that.
My
It,
God.
it wasn't very close, I assume.
No, it was not. And I did not bring, I could look it up in my email what those exact results were, but it was off by about a factor of 2. So if it needed to be 30, it was closer to 60. So it was not even close. Which is why we're recommending the removal and replacement. You do have an option for a deduct, but the DOT will not participate in the remaining amount. So
Well, we need
it
DOT.
would not be in your best interest to do that.
So I should know this, but percentage wise, how much is coming out? How much is coming to? Roughly.
1,000 feet, right?
It's about 1,000 feet out of roughly 1,600. No, sorry,
Less.
2,600. So
Less than that, yeah. That's right.
it's about roughly a third.
Yep. Yep.
Give or take.
The whole west end.
Everything thrown in the county shop, basically.
Both. I'm wondering how
Yeah.
big of a headache this is gonna be in the springtime.
So I've actually talked to Myron directly and very accommodating about that whole thing. It's going to impact the Q Avenue as much as anybody. We'll gap that like we did last time, so that they'll be able to get in and out. But the county said that they'll continue to use their makeshift driveway off onto our avenue in order to speed things up. So very accommodating from that perspective. He said they'll get it done as fast as you can. We understand. We want it to be right also.
Yep.
So that was very good.
What are the chances we're gonna have the wonderful weather we had this year?
Well, unfortunately,
I know.
we don't know, but
Do we allot a certain amount of time for this project?
so that's to be determined. I've asked the DOT that question. We have not gotten really any indication either way how much flexibility we have with any working days or anything like that. So, I mean, they're well over the working days now.
Yeah.
Before this was even an issue, they were going to be over the working days.
Well, I would assume they're gonna wanna get in and get it out and get it
Yes.
done
So
quickly.
I did have a meeting with Rachi on this specifically. Their intent is to get this done first thing, the very first project in the spring. The paving subcontractor is likely going to be the bottleneck. That's the bulk of the work, obviously. Talked to them about pinning them down, getting something in writing. What do they have? They said that they're limited on what they can do contractually to force them to attack this project first. The good news is they've essentially worked themselves out of work for this year, so they don't have leftover work to get done first thing next spring. So the work that they would have for next year would be bid this winter. It's unlikely that that would be ready to go. There's going to be exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas on this project, it's really a tear out, smooth out the rock that's already there, and repave.
Ready to go.
Should go really fast. Rachi thinks it's going to be a matter of days for them to get the tear out done. So
That's what we want.
we could see if the weather is conducive, possibly April might be when we see this thing firing back up. But it's dependent on Mother Nature and Rachi and Citywide.
You've got county all taken care of, right?
Yes. We got the email that is done. Unfortunately, didn't have anybody to double check to make sure it is, and I didn't get here before it was dark, so I didn't put eyes. The only thing I'm not sure about is the culvert, but they said that they did get that done. So at their word, it is done. But I have not put eyes on it.
I haven't called you yet.
No.
All right,
There
I
were
have a
multiple phone
motion.
calls about that with them, so yes, it is. I do trust that it is done.
I have a motion and a second. I would ask for a roll call, please.
Fluhop,
Yes.
Elwick,
Yes.
Vasinius, Gates,
Yes.
Stark,
Yes.
Parmenter,
Yes.
Thank you. Now is the time for approval of a resolution setting a time of hearing on proposed ordinance to vacate an alley. Motion.
Second.
Motion by Bethany, second by Riley. Chris?
Yes, this is the alley that is on West Sixth Street on the south side of the road, and it was requested by Mr. Sellers, who is here tonight. And planning and zoning did meet on Tuesday, and they unanimously approved of all the members that were there to make this recommendation to move forward with this. And so,
We're gonna do that at the next meeting.
The
then?
28th?
yes.
28th is all right. That work, Dakota?
I need,
No, just I think the hearing is set. If it's
Okay.
all agreed to,
Perfect.
then I believe Melissa will go ahead and publish that.
All
would-
right.
I would take it is a resolution
So
to
roll
set
call.
that, so
A roll
I'll take a
call.
roll call, please.
can't hurt. Vasenius.
Yep.
Elwick,
Yes.
Fluhop,
yes.
Stark,
Yes.
Gates,
Yes.
Parmenter.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, now it's time for approval of a resolution to approve disbursement of a hotel motel tax proceeds to Vinton Unlimited.
Motion.
Second. Motion by Andrew, second by Bethany. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Vasenius, Stark,
Yes.
Fluhop,
Yes.
Gates,
Yes.
Parmenter,
Yes.
Elwick.
Yes.
Thank you. And now we need an approval of a quote for interior city hall construction.
Motion. Second.
Motion by Riley, second by Bethany. Melissa?
I'm gonna defer to Chief back there.
With basically everything going on with the potential, not potential, but the increase in rates and all that stuff. Our gals in the front office here get quite a bit of, don't wanna over exaggerate, but they take a lot of verbal abuse back there. And in the past, I don't know if you remember, we had a doorway here that led inside, and there's a counter there. We got rid of that. We put a window here so they can interact through that window. That's helped considerably, but we still have foot traffic just going in through the door and down the hall. And I mean, it's Chris's office, or they'll go directly to this office in here. What the proposed plan is to put a wall, continue this wall to this wall here with a doorway. Which will stop the walking traffic coming through here. Plus, it keeps this formal area here separated from any activity that's going on in here.
Trying to stop me,
What's that?
you trying to stop me?
Exactly. But we'd have, just for instance, we'd have our interview process for officers or any type of meeting in here. We just get the traffic. And we're trying to commit. It's very interrupting and not very professional. It would be obviously open, when you have a public meeting, but we close that access for business hours. I believe there should be an estimate from Ted Jessen. I don't know if you've, anybody's looked at our progress on the west side. It's very professional. It's improved our security on that west end.
Checked it out the other day, looks very nice.
Thank you. Yep, we did that, myself and Blake.
So this is for the wall going up, this bid we're talking about.
Yes.
And I would add that it does not eliminate people from coming into the building. It eliminates them from coming in unannounced. You know, if people have meetings, it just gives us an opportunity to say, maybe call back to Chris, are you in your office? So let people in that have appointments and things like that. But
Absolutely.
Because sometimes I'm not in my office. Sometimes I'm out and about and down. It does happen.
And with that being said, there's another side of this as well. I know, Mayor is wanting, this building, actually all the buildings, Paskey, Bob. I think this would be a great opportunity to, at least start with, City Hall, this building here, see how that works. And do this on the other building in the city. I did get an estimate from, from Hawkeye, and I know Melissa's has had Hawkeye and another company, and we brought in another company from Ankeny and give a bid, and they were just outrageous. Hawkeye was the most reasonable.
Are you talking on the pass key now?
Yes, yes.
We'll get that on the next agenda, right?
Yeah.
If you give me the quote.
Yes. But we'll get that on the next agenda. So we can look at it.
Is it a discussion point for tonight, or that's for next time?
Well, I guess we're asking for a decision for the wall tonight.
Yep.
When we'll present the past.
Okay, I had a motion and a second. Just a roll call. Roll call, please.
Parmenter,
Yes.
Stark,
Yes.
Vesenius, Elwick,
Yes.
Gates,
Yes.
Fluhop.
Yes.
All right, we're on to reports. Let's start with Melissa.
I would just say we're starting budget work. My goal is to have worksheets out for department heads Monday at our meeting, so we can start working on that for the next fiscal year. Our billing office has been busy with the IRS and some payroll changes, so just some new things. Our software is working well, and then we'll incorporate all of those changes seamlessly for us. So things are good,
Seamlessly? That's,
pretty much.
that's a big order.
Things are good.
Chief?
Graduation tomorrow. I'll be attending with three of my other officers for Chris Stevenson. And he'll be starting the very next day on his field training. So excited about getting that position back. Blake, he's been busy dealing with some nuisance properties here in town. So just busy time right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, and another thing, maybe I could say for, not doing welfare, but we're gonna have our, holiday with the cop this, Sunday. So, anticipating around 60 to 70 kids.
That's awesome.
That's all I have.
Craig?
Since the water tower is done, we took the 10 less than 10 off the pole and climbed to the top, and we're missing a pole that was up on top. So tomorrow we'll get that mounted and get that back up and running so we can keep track of meters, I guess. I need to get with Chief on getting rid of our old dump truck. I think we got the other one ready to go, but hopefully we don't have to use it this winter, but I'm sure that's not gonna happen, so. I guess now we can breathe a sigh of relief for the wastewater plant, so we'll be looking forward to seeing some dirt moved tomorrow, so. I might get a little excited, but that's all right. You'll get used to it. Other than that, yeah, I guess we're just getting ready for winter and making sure everything keeps running.
Good, thank you. Chris?
Coming up, looks like I'll be speaking. I've been cornered by several members of the Lions Club to come talk, so I will on January the 10th. Got an email yesterday from the Benton County Community Foundation that the library has been awarded a STEAM supplies grant of $3,765. Speaking of the water tower, we got at the next agenda there. I believe it's U.S. Cellular has some antenna upgrades that are looking to go on top of the water tower. for council to consider. It's going to be at U.S. Cellular's cost, at no cost to the city. Airport will have the annual CIP and a change order to close out the project, but the change order appears to have a deduct on the amount by $5,900. So for council to consider and approve, and need council to set a date for a work session for the next meeting on the 28th to talk about rates. I know.
Council?
At 6 o'clock.
That could be a long one.
Pretty easy. Whatever.
Could be the next, right before the next meeting is fine, on the 28th.
You wanna do 6? I think that's enough time. Alright, so there you go, work session on the 28th at 6 o'clock.
Okay, that is all I have.
So I had a quick question. We did that nice, spiffed up the outside of the building. Down by your entrance, are you gonna put an emblem up or
Yes,
anything
yes,
outside?
we're working on that,
Oh.
in, following Melissa's, she's got a design for the, I believe, the city up front, and we've got a design with Tharps for the, police department.
Awesome.
It's coming, slowly.
Good. Anybody else have any good and welfare, anything?
Good.
What?
Happy Kwanzaa, everybody.
Alright, I'd take a motion to adjourn.
Motion. Second.
Alright, we're adjourned. I assume we're all in favor.